welcome to CosmoMuse and another yes, no, maybe Friday insight reading. So just going over my typical housekeeping with this reading, that the way you phrase your question, make sure you do so that if you get a yes, that is either the outcome you're looking for or would at least feel like a positive outcome. And also, you're welcome to bring whatever yes/no questions you want here, but just know that the way I am reading energies, these work a lot better if they are questions with some depth to them versus very black and white questions. So my typical example would be, a more black and white question is like, am I going to get this job or not? It's sort of like there's a firm yes, no there. If you're bringing questions like that, just take and leave what makes sense. The whole of the reading may not make a lot of completely plug in for you, so just take and leave what works for that question. The types of questions where this is going to make a lot more sense would be, instead of saying something like, am I going to get this job? Saying more like, would this job make me happy? Would I be happy in this job? Or am I looking for the right kinds of jobs? That's a little bit, leaves a little more room for interpretation, which is the way I'm reading the energies. I'm reading it in ways where you can kind of put a lot of interpretation into things. So that being said, we've got 4 piles, so let's check those out. We've got pile 1 with blue Orca Agate, pile 2 with kind of an Aqua Calcite, pile 3 is Pyrite, and pile 4 is Aquamarine. Okay, for those of you that already know your piles or have your own process, you can just jump down to timestamps in descriptions. For the rest of you that like the breath work I do to help you get into a space for really being well drawn into your right pile, we will jump into that now. So place your feet firmly on the ground, and then take a deep breath into your body to kind of anchor into it and feel that grounding connection to the earth of being held, some stability, some calming. Hold that breath. And exhale. And now take another deep breath in, and this time suck the air up, up, up into the space between your brows. Hold that. Suck in a little extra to create some tension there in that third eye. And then out loud, exhale, opening up your crown chakra. All right, gaze over the 4 piles and feel into whichever one is really drawing you in. That is your aligned message. All right, I'll see you in your readings. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your Friday insight and your yes, no, maybe question. So before jumping into the cards, like usual in this weekly reading, I love to kind of plug into any intuitive hits that came as I was focusing on and preparing your blue Orca Agate pile. And I got this overwhelming, it was just a general thing, I got an overwhelming sense that you are really beautifully working with your third eye right now. So whatever you're asking about, you may have a lot of inner knowings already about this. A deep connection to being able to see things about this question that are a little bit in the unseen, in the not obvious realm. which makes me think that you already, like really, even before I look at the cards, need to trust your intuition here. Like you already have the answer. You already know the answer. And we are going to flip over the cards to see what the cards have to say. But if you want to just honor yourself in that inner knowing, without adding this extra overlay of information from the outside, if you have that strong sense of like, yeah, I know the answer and I trust the answer, you are welcome to exit this reading at this point. But if you want that extra reassurance, if you're curious about the energy check between the cards and what your intuition and inner knowing is saying, or you don't feel totally connected to that inner knowing yet, we can dive in here. No judgments either way. I love getting those, comparing notes on what my inner thoughts are versus what other intuitive reads have. I think it can be fun. But let's look at the cards and see what they have to say. Power. Yeah, I do. I mean, you are in your power right now. That's all I have to say. And I'm going to make a call right now that like just me needing to trust my own intuition before like having to rely so much on the cards is like, you wouldn't be asking this question unless you were already like in your power with it. To me, it's like you wouldn't be asking this question if you didn't already feel like this is something you're capable of or drawing towards you or whatever it is. Like, you're in your power, hence you're drawing the yes to, like, this feels very much so like already this deep, powerful yes. Like, I almost don't even want to lean into any more cards. But like I said, sometimes it's fun just to kind of see what comes up. And sometimes there's, more subtle things that come through that you wouldn't have known that spirit can see, Imagine, look at all these blues. Wow, I love this. It's like, I feel just sucked into a world suddenly. Whatever that means. Yeah, you're deeply in your third eye. You're deeply in an inner knowing and drawing something to you and plugged into that primordial place of potential and possibility and imagination and finding that thing within it, finding that thing within your imagination that you're like, this is powerful. I have power in this. I could make this powerful. Something like that. But you're finding in that inner realm, that inner knowing, in that place of primordial being, something is striking and it's hitting for you. And it's like, yeah, you are the person to bring this out of the ethers and into manifestation. You have the power to do this. You are the one meant to do this. You are whatever it is, it's like, trust it. You have power here. You have a specific power and a specific knowing to take something that is hitting for you in your imagination, or in the imaginal realm in general, and bring it down to earth. Okay, let's see your tarot card, the sun. It's aligned. Yeah. Find your courage. Be willing to be seen. This is something that I think is coming, reason why to stick with and actually watch the reading versus just trusting your own inner knowing is there are things that spirit can see beyond what we can. And this is something that beyond thing that spirit wants to bring to your attention of like, you're going to need to be willing to be seen for around whatever this question is. You need to find your courage and your heart. And with that, you will find success. And with that success, you need to be willing to be seen. So just like a little extra thing. And this isn't this thing of like, sometimes I get those messages and I feel called to be like, if that's not what you want or what you're ready for, you can choose a no here or drop this question, but that doesn't feel relevant here. That feels like, even if that scares you or you're like, oh, now I don't know about this question, it's like, no, like this is meant for you. This is part of your aligned, something aligned that's supposed to take place in your life. And if this sounds terrible, for some of you, it may sound amazing and you're all in for that, but some of you that might feel terrifying, and that's like part of your growth. That's part of what growth you're coming into, is being seen for things that you can create, take from imagination and manifest into the world. And you need to start being seen for that, or you need to be seen for that in relation to this question. Yeah, so a big yes for you guys. All right, that's where I'm going to leave you. If this resonated, I always appreciate the things like, share, subscribe. And definitely if you feel so called, I always am grateful to see kind and thoughtful comments. All right, I hope you guys have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your Friday insight to give some energy into your yes, no, maybe questions. You guys picked this beautiful kind of Aqua Calcite. And like usual with this weekly reading, I like to kind of go into intuitive hits that came while I was preparing your pile before we look at the cards. So definitely, I really had, I struggled to feel anything. And I had to almost just tell myself, it's fine. If nothing comes, nothing comes. And kind of let go of that, why is nothing coming? So I was sort of frustrated by that, but then it made me feel like I was trying too hard to read into or extract messages from anything. And I was like, no, I need to let go of that, and if nothing comes, nothing comes. And as soon as I kind of let go into that, the message did flood in for me of there's something about your question that's not plugged in for you. It's sort of there's something about your question where it's it would do some good for this question for you to check in with yourself. What do you want for you? What would, and not want, I think want is the wrong word. What would make you feel aligned with yourself? What would make you feel at ease? What would make you feel pleasure in your life? That felt interesting to say, pleasure. What would make you feel pleasure? It's I don't know if whatever you're asking about is sort of a question you connected to because you see it outside of you. There's influence from the outside. It's what other people are doing or what is expected. There's something where it's yeah, but do you really want that? Does it, imagine getting a yes to this question, and do you feel pleasure? Do you feel at peace in having this yes? For some of you, it might be a yes, but I feel for a lot of you coming here, that might feel weird. Imagining already getting your yes, might feel, I don't know, a little uncomfortable in some way, or scary, or off in a way. So I want to look at the cards before I really drop into what I'm already sensing about this, just to get that bigger spiritual perspective that sometimes we can't see. Forgiveness. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's something inside of yourself you're needing to work on to have more compassion for yourself, for mistakes you've made that it's like you're avoiding, and something about this question is going to help you avoid it because it's very external maybe. Or there might just be the wrong timing, and if you checked in with yourself, it's like, oh, this isn't the right timing for this, because right now in my inner timing, it's time to do some self-compassion work. It's time to grieve something for some of you, maybe. Message in a bottle, which is always an interesting one that comes up. I feel like I read it differently every time I see it, but this one to me feels sort of like lost. Like, yeah, it's just like a lost feeling. And if you were to go inside of yourself, you would find a message that would be really compassionate, really beautiful. It's like your soul has a message for you, but you need to check in with it. And that message might completely alter you even asking this question or how you would ask this question. Let's look at your tarot card first, the tree. This is actually from a tarot, it's an interesting tarot deck. It's a tarot and oracle, and it just has the major arcana and then a whole bunch of oracle cards. So I'm gonna look up what it actually, in the book, what it actually says about the tree. Let's see. Energetic meaning: life, home, shelter, wisdom, sanctuary, steadiness, earth. The tree calls us home to the safety and security of ourselves. You can't make this up, you guys. There's something you need to go into yourself right now. The tree is our spiritual home, rooted in the earth and reaching to the heavens. It is the giver of fruits ripe with knowledge from above and below. Maybe this is the message in the bottle you also need. One of the most important things in life in order to heal and be happy is a feeling of safety and calm. Let the tree be a guide, a safe space, and a reminder that you are safe and you are okay right now. Like a tree, we need good sunshine and clean water, fresh air, a steady foundation. And that feels important to me. It's like what you need right now are those things. Maybe what you need right now isn't what you're asking about. Like the timing isn't right because you're needing to tend to kind of you and your inner life and your foundations. Okay, to continue, and just as trees need roots and stability to thrive, so do our spiritual and emotional bodies. Since we are not always in one place, we must find things to sink our roots into for stability. Creating all of your stability around external circumstances, you guys, this is bananas. Like career or relationships can leave you fumbling if they become shaky or are removed entirely. So grant yourself stability in things like your spiritual connection with the earth and the cosmos, your sense of self, and your natural loving nature. Make who you are at your core your stability to come back to. Mantras. I am one with this earth. I am grounded and rooted in strength and love. Reflections. I wasn't going to read that, but I think that message in the bottle just feels like I need to read all the things. I invite you to create a safe space in your heart and mind, a place to go when you close your eyes that brings you home, somewhere you feel safe that is all yours. You can make this place anything you want. Draw it or visualize it, but build it and come back to it when you need to feel secure. Yeah, so I mean, I just think the timing's wrong. So it is a no here, but this is giving you guidance of what you do need. You need to tune into you. You need to do some inner work, touch into your spirituality, touch into your relationship with feeling grounded and in the earth and creating an inner world and a connection to your heart that help you to feel at home in yourself no matter where you are. That's what is needed of you right now. So it's not like whatever you've asked about is irrelevant. It's just not the right time is what I feel like. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. If that resonated, I always appreciate the things like, share, subscribe, and definitely always grateful to see kind and thoughtful comments in the comment section. All right, I hope you guys have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. See ya. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your Yes, No, Maybe Friday Insight reading. You guys picked this beautiful pyrite. So, like usual, in this weekly reading, I like to talk about intuitive hits that came before we check into the cards. And it was a general sense that came to me, this feeling of like clutter. There's something cluttered around this question, whether it's like literally feeling like your physical environment is cluttered and somehow that's affecting the energy of this question, or your mind could be cluttered. I just felt an unclarity in a very general sense. I can't specify what that is, if it's related to whether your question's not clear or just related to some mental baggage or clutter around you. There's something that is making the energy of this question hard to be clear, which makes, when things aren't clear, it's hard to hit the target, right? If you don't have a clear focus. Yeah, so that's, I don't know. Obviously, it already is swaying me to at least some work needing to be put in to get a yes, but I definitely am already like sitting in that maybe, but leaning towards a no. But I do want to look at what the cards have to say, because it's, again, that's like not even clear to me. So let's see what your cards have to say. Pleasure. This feels like your physical environment to me. Something about really getting into your senses, really getting into making something around you feel, look, smell, sound pleasurable, relaxing, luxurious, or some effort that needs to be done to clear some, rework some physical space around you so that you can sit in a sense of pleasure, feel a sense of pleasure in just being in a certain environment. If that doesn't like connect to you or make sense to you, there may be something about like going to a place in nature where you're really able to just kind of exhale and just be and just take life in, and that feels just like really beautiful and enchanting to you, about connecting into something beautiful in a new environment, in a nature setting you have always loved, something like that. So it could be your personal physical environment, like your home, your room, your kitchen, your whatever, your living room, your yard, or it could be like just going to a space where you're able to feel some pleasure. And there's something about doing this where I think like more clarity will be found around what you're asking about. Yeah, through that you will connect into your deep knowing. And when you connect into your deep knowing and you're really kind of in your senses in a pleasurable way, I think something will open up about this question that expands beyond where it is right now, and then it feels clear. I think the reason why it's like there's something unclear about your question is it's not expanded and it's not connected to some deeper place within you yet. It's like the tip of the iceberg. It's like a premature question, I want to say. Let's see what your tarot card says. The heart. Okay, so this is an interesting tarot deck. It's one that has the major arcana and then a bunch of oracle cards as well. So this is one of the oracle cards. And I don't know all the meanings. Obviously I have my own connection to what I could say the heart means, but I want to do the deck justice and maybe read from the book to get, let's see, the message meant for the card. Let's see. Why can't I find it? You guys, yeah, something's not clear here, right? The heart. Oh, because it's heart, not the heart. Okay. Energetic meaning: love, compassion, desire, connection, expression, emotion, compass. The heart calls us to trust our truest selves. They are our greatest vessel of love and guidance. The heart is the home to our spirit's deepest truths and passions. Your heart always holds the truth. Oh, look, the candle just went out. I knew it was getting low, but I thought I could get through the whole this whole reading series with it. That's interesting. And there are some barbed wires, some like thorny branches she's putting around this. Okay. Let's see, where was I? Your heart always holds the truth. They are our greatest power, for the heart in its fullness is pure love. Thus, you as your truest self, too, are pure love. If we are feeling unsure or lost, we can always return to our hearts for answers. There is great wisdom when we look into our hearts. Be cautious when fear-based thoughts cloud your feelings. So that cloudiness I'm feeling may be some fear-based thoughts or fear-based feelings. Oh, fear-based thoughts that cloud your feelings. Fear-based thoughts around your heart. Is there something about this question that's kind of based in some fear? When we can forgive any outside forces or circumstances and feel full in ourselves, the wisdom of our hearts will become more clear. Romantically, we are navigating a heart connection. It is important to cultivate our sense of value and self-worth, separate from any relationship. We are all valuable and worthy on our own, just as we are right now. If we are able to know our worth in our hearts, what we bring forth and what we will tolerate will be in line with our standards. In a relationship, you can measure your value and worth in the relationship by your actions and behaviors, by what your actions and behaviors are toward your partner. If you measure your value and worth by your partner's actions and behaviors, you are giving your power away, overvaluing them and undervaluing yourself. You will also be emotionally tied to whatever it is they do, whatever it is they do up or down, and celebrate or blame yourself based on their feedback. This is harmful for everyone involved. When we rely on ourselves for our value and worth, we stay in our power and can show up authentically and recognize when we are being mistreated. From that place, we are able to more successfully navigate the natural challenges and complications we face in relationships. Remember to always act with love and patience. I'm just going to read the reflection because this goes on for a while. Check in with your heart. Take a few moments of stillness to breathe. Cast all thoughts aside and feel into what your heart is calling for in this moment. Tend to that. And so maybe that's why that environment issue is coming up. It's like you need to find a space just for you, where you can connect to you, where there's no outside influences, distractions, energies, where you are free to feel you. And there's something about really deeply knowing your value and establishing and connecting to your value through what you think and feel, not what others have reflected to you or communicated to you or shown you through their behaviors. There's something that you need to clarify about your value, your voice, your worth, what you know, that needs to come from within and not be developed through some outside feedback that's skewed. It's skewed. And so it's maybe created some fear or tension in your heart. And Spirit's wanting you to unwind, detangle from that, and get into your clear inner knowing, into your heart for it to open more clearly. So unless your question, if you feel like your question is coming from the space we're talking about, from a deep inner knowing, so I'm feeling a split here. Maybe you've already done this work and this is confirmation of like, yeah, I've done a lot of work and I really feel like this question is coming from a place of a deep inner knowing. I feel like I'm valuing myself based on my own standards and my own heart. Then your deep inner knowing is steering you correctly and there is a yes here. But I feel like just because of the energy I got, before even looking at the cards, I feel like 99% of you, there's a no around this question because you're needing, like it's coming from that fear-based thinking that's clouding your emotions. And there's something unclear about this question because it's skewed based on who or what you believe, who you believe yourself or your value to be, or value placed on this question that have come from skewed external sources. And I think there's a much better question that comes from your deep knowing that will have a yes. But there's just something clouding this question currently. Okay, so this is where I'm going to leave you. For 99% of you, it's a no. Maybe there's a couple of you that feel like you're coming from that deep inner standard and inner knowing, and then that is a yes for you, one or two people. Okay, if this resonated, I always appreciate the things like, share, subscribe, and definitely always grateful to hear from you guys in the comments section, even a little emoji or something. Just nice to feel that human touch in there, and definitely always grateful when those are kind and thoughtful. All right, I will see you guys in future readings, and I hope you have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. Hello, Pile 4. Welcome to your Friday Insight and yes, no, maybe reading. You guys picked this beautiful Aquamarine stone, and if you've come to this weekly reading before, you already know that I like to kind of jump into intuitive hits that came to me as I was preparing your pile before checking in with the cards. So for you, definitely some interesting things occurred. It wasn't so much messages that came through or body sensations. It was like literal kind of sequence of events that took place that felt very important and pertinent, in that this candle was a different candle before, and it burned all the way through. It finished and burned out before getting to this reading. So I pulled out a new candle, and I felt this need to not light it until I'd already gone through kind of the, shuffling and picking card process, and just right before pressing record on this reading, that's when it felt right to light the candle. So the thing that, that feels important about that in relation to whatever you asked about is like something is about to ignite. It's very close, but like it hasn't ignited yet. And I don't know if that is in relation to your question. If this is a question about something new, then it would be about that. If it's not about something new is about to spark that may influence at least this question, or make an impact on this question in some way. It already gives me a sort of positive vibe. At the same time, I do sense that like maybe they're kind of in that really fresh, new beginner energy. Sometimes there are pieces to the puzzle we don't know yet. Like we think we know more than we do know. Just something to think about with this question. There may be more to this question than you yet have perceived, or that is yet opened up to even unfolding. That would, I don't know, add pieces to the puzzle here. So I don't know, that feels very mysterious. So let's look at the cards to get a much better kind of grasp on it, if this is yes, no, maybe kind of territory. Trust, I love that. And look at that matchy energy, kind of white and blue. Feels very peaceful. Trust. There was a very calm energy in that non-lighted candle, fresh candle. It felt almost sterile, but not in a bad way, like in this calm before the storm way, maybe. Trust. I mean, that's very positive to me. Even without looking at these two other cards, I'm definitely getting a yes here. Trust. It's like you're waiting for a spark, like a spark is coming that's going to ignite something new around this question, some new energy, some new spark within that wasn't accessed before, that's opening this question up in a whole new way. Or if this is about is something going to happen, or should I do this new thing, then it's like trust that it's that spark you need to initiate it is coming really quickly. It's almost here. Fork in the road. Interesting. Well, trust that intuition. Trust what your observations, what your intuitive sense says, what information you're drawn toward. Trust the things that you draw into you and you feel within you. It will lead you to that right path, that right fork. Temperance, yeah. If there's a choice or decision in relation to this question, trust the path that you know you can handle, that you know already have a really deep sense of being able to know how to balance the things that would come with that path. Things that already are very experienced, knowledgeable, wise that you hold, or that you feel like would put you into a new journey that would come with many ups and downs and big experiences and adventures that would lead you to being in a place of like knowing how to balance a lot, knowing how to merge worlds and broaden your horizons. However that plugs into your question, whichever way I phrase that feels right to you, sit in, feel into that for yourself, and that will kind of lead you to which direction or choice to make. Trust yourself. So it's either like you'll find that knowing and that trust of that decision will come if it's like, yeah, I know exactly, I've already got learned experience here. I know how to hold a lot, how to balance worlds here. I trust that in myself, or I trust this path will take me on a journey to kind of establish that in myself. So the ultimate answer I want to give here is a little bit layered. If this is about a decision you are having to make, whichever, say it's like I could either go this way or this way, and I've asked this question in a way that I'm asking if this way is the right way, trust that it is. If this doesn't feel like a decision to you, this question doesn't relate to some decision you're having to make, it's a little more nebulous in that context. I think just the key coming through here is like trust you know how to hold all this question will require you to hold, that you have the skills needed. So, I mean, in general, it feels like a yes question. I just think that I'm trying to give a few different interpretations of that yes, because I feel like there's some variety in a need for variety in how I'm interpreting this based on maybe different kinds of questions coming here. So if you're making a decision, whichever fork you asked about the right fork. That's the yes fork. If you ask something not related to you making a decision, it's like trust in yourself. You have what it takes. It feels like this may be a question where you're like, am I up for this? And it's like, yes, trust yourself. You are up for this. If none of that makes sense or really feels like it relates to your question, just, then it's just kind of like a more general yes. And if you come to some forks in the road in relation to this question in the future, trust your inner knowing. You'll know which way to go. But I do feel for all of you, there is something new about to spark here in relation to your question. Okay, that is where I'm going to leave you. I don't want to make this any more complicated because I've added in, several different interpretations. So that's where I'm going to leave it. If this resonated, I always appreciate the things, like, share, subscribe, and always grateful to see kind and thoughtful comments. It's always nice to feel that human touch there. All right, I will see you guys in the future, and I hope you have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are.